Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about my lettering supplies. First, I'll just talk briefly about all the different pens that I use, and then I'll demonstrate how they write differently and show you how they blend. As for my lettering challenge, the two brands I mainly use are Tombow and Zig. First of all, is a Tombow dual brush. I got this one from Amazon in a set. The set comes with 10 pens in it, and I believe I paid 14 US dollars for it. This one is probably the most popular brush pen on Instagram nowadays, and I'm sure you've seen it many times. I actually got two sets of them. One is the bright palette, and the other one is the secondary palette. And there are like millions of other shades from Tombow, so I'm sure you can find something that you like. I got these two particular sets because they were the cheapest on Amazon. As you probably know, Amazon has this really weird pricing. So I got them for $14 per set, but there are other set goes up to $20 for some weird reason. Next are these Z clean color real brushes that I actually talked about in my last travel supply video. I got them from a Chinese website and they came in as a set of 12, costed me 100 Chinese yen, I believe, which is basically 14 US dollar as well. Next is just a regular water brush that I picked up from my local art store. I think it costed about $3 or $4. I just filled it in with some colored ink so I could write with it. Next is the Hand Touch series, which I also talked about in my earlier video. The nib has a little bit of flex to it, so you can kind of write brush lettering with it. They cost about $2 each from my local store. And then is this Pilot parallel pen. I don't use it that much, but whenever I do, people ask me like what pen it is, so I think I'll mention it here as well. Basically, it's just a broad nib pen that uses fountain pen ink, so it's very convenient if you are too lazy to take out your dip pen like me. Then it's a highlighter pen. I use this Uni Postcard White, but there are like so many white gel pens on the market and I don't really see any difference among different brands, so you can just get whatever you want. For the ink that I use to get a gradient effect is this Ecoline ink. Again, there are like millions of different shades from this brand, and honestly, I first bought them for painting, but it's just too much trouble to take off all the caps before every painting session, so I ended up never using them. It cost about $2 to $3 a bottle when I bought it. I bought like about 30 different shades, but yeah, I never found a use for it until now. So yeah, I'm quite happy with them. Of course, if you already have any colored ink, you could just use that. I recommend this one if you don't have any at hand and you want to give it a go. This is a really inexpensive brand to get started with. Because as you may know, a lot of fountain pen inks are really expensive. Next, I'm just going to write with each of these pens and show you how they write. And I'll also show you how I mix colors and get a gradient effect. First is a tumble dual brush. As for this brush, I normally blend the colors in two different ways. My favorite way is simply dipping it into the ink bottle. Let's say you dip the blue into the purple, and when you write it, it will have like an ombre effect. It's not that obvious as when you blend with markers, but I do like it. And if you have like any ink left on the nib, you can just write with it a little bit to get it clean. So you don't need to worry at all that dipping it into a darker shade will ruin your nib. Another blending technique that I use is the so-called official way. You just simply write with one color first, and if you buy a set like me, they will have this transparent pen in the set, and that is meant for color blending. Let's say you want to add a little bit purple to the blue. Usually there is a official mixing palette that they sell, or some people just use plastic bag or Ziploc. I simply just use a packaging itself. And you can just get a little bit of the purple ink onto the transparent pen to go over the blue and to blend. Yep, it's just as straightforward as that. Also, like if you get any extra ink on your blending pen, you just like write it a little so it will get clean eventually. And since it's a dual brush, it also has a thin marker tip that I don't find very useful, but since it comes with it, I have no complaint. Next, I'm going to talk about these Zig clean color brushes. Honestly, this is my favorite pen of all times, and if you're only going to buy one brush pen, I would highly recommend this instead of the Tombow because it has a real brush tip, so you can get a thinner hairline than the Tombow. Also, it will probably last longer. I haven't used my Tombow long enough to say that because I just got them like around Black Friday, right before I started my lettering challenge. So they are still practically brand new. But anyway, they have a felt tip, so I guess eventually it will fray. But for the Zig one, although it has a synthetic tip, but I don't see there's any way you could ruin that. So you can probably use it as long as there's still ink left in it. For the color blending, there are about 3 ways that I usually use it. The first one is what I've showed you in previous video. You just rub one color against another and write with it. So when you write with it, it has a color gradient. Of course, you can also dip it into a different shade of ink and write with it. It behaves no different than the Tombow brush, I guess. So yeah. And if you need to get your tip clean, you can just do the same way as the Tombow brushes. The third way is to use a different colored real brush to blend. So just as the Tombow brush is, first write the letter in one solid color and then use a different color to blend. Let's say we use this darker blue, so just use it to go over the top of the words and use the original color to blend it in. It's really easy, you just need to be careful like to go over your original letter shape, not to like get crazy and ruin it. Alright, that's everything about the Zig clean color brushes. Yeah, I really like this and I highly recommend you guys to try it if you can find it anywhere. Next is this water brush, or some people call it a aqua brush. The tape is also a real brush tape. just similar to the zig one, but if you compare these two, you can see the water brush has a longer tip, so if you need to write larger words, it will probably work better. If you've watched any of my lettering video, you'll probably see that I just dip it into the ink and write with it, so it has a gradient effect. And of course, you can just clean it in the same way as other brush pens. Next is the Pentel touch pens. This one has like a really fine nib, but since it can flex a little bit, you can still write with it for a brush lettering effect. I think I've also showed it in my last video, but yeah, I'm just going to write with it again and show you the name of the pen. Last but not least is the highlight parallel pen. As I said, this is really convenient as it uses fountain pen ink, and if you want to get a gradient color with it, you can also dip it into a different shade of ink. I have my pen filled with a turquoise greenish color of ink, and I'm dipping it into the purple as well, so it will change from purple to turquoise, which is one of my favorite color combos. If you've seen my lettering videos, you can see that I use a lot of blues and greens because blue is my favorite color. Alright, I'm running out of space here because I'm very bad at it. But yeah, you get the idea. You can see that I'm really bad with broad nib. That you can see the letter forms are not uniform at all. Some are bigger and some are smaller. So yeah, I need a lot more practice on it. And to clean it, you just do it in the same way. Last but not least is a highlighter pen. I guess there's nothing to explain about it. You just use it to add highlights to your letters, especially like when I use broad nib, because the letters are much wider and I like to add highlights to it. Sometimes I add like stars or galaxy forms to it. I'm not going to lie, like a lot of times I add it because I want to hide how bad my letter forms are. So like if it's all decorated up, people pay less attention to the letters themselves, if that makes sense. As for the other times, I just add the highlights because I think it makes the letter cuter, or it just makes them to stand out more. Just like here, I simply add the highlights so the letters will stand out more among others. Of course, if you want it to stand out even more, you can add a shadow to it. What you do is just like use a gray pen to go along one side of the letter, so it will appear that it has a shadow, so it will have a more 3D effect. Alright, that's everything about my lettering supplies. I really wish this could help you guys out if you are new to brush lettering and you want to get something to get started. On a different note, I'm really sorry that I haven't been updating any watercolor tutorials in a while because you guys know it was the holiday season, so yeah, I was just having too much fun. And next week I'll be going back China for Chinese New Year, so I'll probably still be absent for a little while. But anyway, I'm considering to do my first Q&A video when I get back. So yeah, if you guys are interested in it, like about any topic about my personal life, my lettering, my watercolor, like my career or anything, just leave your question down in the comment section so I can gather it all up, and I'll probably record it when I get back in February. Also, there will be a lettering themed giveaway on my Instagram. I'm hesitating between two ideas. Either I choose what I like from my lettering challenge and reproduce it on a postcard, or I'll choose a winner first and let them decide what color or quote they like, and I can customize it for them. But anyway, you guys will be getting an original lettering piece from me. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Alright, that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.